Hey there. As you might have guessed, with Disney's unusual need to remake their animated classics in live action being relevant again, I, the big bad wolf, am doing yet another vlog about this to shed some light on a few things. The Lilo and Stitch live action remake came out a couple weeks ago, and currently its worldwide box office is approaching $700 million, making it the second highest grossing film of 2025, only behind Warner Brothers' Minecraft movie. But why is this a huge hit compared to the disaster known as the Snow White remake from just a few months ago? Well, to start off, the Lilo and Stitch remake wasn't as expensive to produce, having only a $100 million budget, compared to the Snow White remake costing $209 million to make. Maybe because Lilo and Stitch was originally meant to be a Disney Plus original. But now Disney has reset their goals away from producing content exclusively for their streaming service. And so they promoted the remake to a theatrical release, like they also did with Moana 2 last year, as that was also made a lot of money, not surprisingly. Additionally, compared to the Snow White remake, people were liking what they saw with the Lilo and Stitch remake, trailers and promotional material such. The realistic computer-rendered Stitch looked true to the traditionally animated version compared to those really freakish-looking CGI dwarves. And they even got Chris Sanders to reprise the role of Stitch's voice.
How?
So there's some familiarity audiences can appreciate. Also, like I said, this is a safer family film for parents to take their kids to. Like if it's a rainy day or too hot out or they just want to get out of the house for a couple hours. This is one reason why Daffy Duck and Porky Pig's movie The Day the Earth Blew Up was moderately successful with its limited theatrical release, even if it wasn't promoted as much.
But word of mouth definitely helped, including from me and my friends. And even you helped a little, Zeke.
Yes, I did, Daffy. But someone I know told me this is one reason why Disney's making these live-action remakes of their animated features, as something parents could take their children to see at the theater. Additionally, compared to Snow White, the animated Lilo and Stitch isn't as old, having been released in 2002, and it was their last really successful hand-drawn animated feature film, sadly. Oh, and contrary to popular belief, The Princess and the Frog was a modest success, at least performing better than Meet the Robinsons a couple years ago. Also, after what happened with the infamous Lion King remake 6 years ago, getting lots of backlash for being a mostly photorealistic and mostly shot-for-shot remake of the original classic, Disney began to make some changes to the stories and characters in their live-action remakes. Funny enough, said remakes started out with several differences implemented, like the live-action 101 Dalmatians from 1996, where none of the animals talk, and where Roger is now a video game designer, and Jasper and Horace are like British versions of Harry and Marv from the first two Home Alone movies. The Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland from 2010, and Kenneth Branagh's Cinderella from 2015 also only had a few connections with their animated counterparts, largely being different adaptations of the classic stories. But then 2016's The Jungle Book remake incorporated some elements from the 1967 animated classic. Disney saw that was a key to success, and it just took off from there, especially with the Beauty and the Beast remake the following year. But now they're going back to increasingly making things different from the animated versions. Heck, the Snow White remake did this, featuring only a few songs in the animated version, changing Snow White's personality to a more controversial bossy one, a different prince, and the evil queen's death being very different. Oh, and Dopey learns to talk near the end of the film. And the Lilo and Stitch remake also implements several changes, such as removing Gantu, along with not really explaining how Lilo and Annie's parents died, and changing Annie's character leading to a very different ending from the original, along with several other odds and ends. And you'd think this would please people, but so far many are complaining about these changes, especially the ending. And the thing, people complain about the Lion King remake being way too similar to the original. You just can't please anyone these days. Also, with the way things are going, hypothetically, I could see Disney canceling the remakes based on their older pre-Renaissance animated features, while still continuing development and production on the live-action remakes of the films from the Disney Renaissance onward. I mean, the Aladdin and Lion King and Little Mermaid, and now the Lilo and Stitch remakes were commercial successes, especially the Lion King remake, unfortunately. And in addition to the Snow White movie bombing at the box office, the Pinocchio remake from a few years ago that was released on Disney Plus got a lot of critical thrashing, going on to win the Razzie Award for Worst Remake or Sequel. The Moana remake is too far into production to stop now, and I haven't really heard anything about the Robin Hood and Aristocats and Sword in the Stone and Bambi remakes, thank goodness. Maybe Disney will scrap those, if they're smart, but they may resume development on the Tangled remake after a halting it when the Snow White remake flopped. If they want to go a different direction on that, maybe they could call it Rapunzel or something like that. I'm reminded that was kind of the case with the original animated Tangle initially being called Rapunzel Unbraided before being renamed its finished title after they thought the title was too girly, as was the case with The Princess and the Frog. And at least it was better than in the 80s, when they were making the movie adaptation of Eve Titus Basil Baker Street books. But then the new Disney executives thought that title was too British sounding, especially after Warner's Young Sherlock Holmes flop, and they renamed it The Great Mouse Detective, and the production crew retaliated with what sounded like an unimagined title at the time, with that hilarious fake memo about renaming all their previous canon animated classics. Of course, simpler titles are nowadays where it's at, hence Tangled and Wreck-It Ralph and Frozen being such big hits for Disney. And I wouldn't mind if Disney canceled the Bambi remake, especially since that was really cherished and one of Walt's favorite movies he worked on. Plus, 10 years ago, Saturday Night Live beat him to the punch of a hilarious sketch made in the wake of the live-action Cinderella, about a dark and edgy live-action Bambi movie where Bambi, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, made up in deer ears and a wig, vows revenge on man for killing his mother. And in an ironic sense, The Rock is reprising his role as Maui in the Moana live-action remake and is even a producer on it. And this is the guy who took the time at the 2023 Academy Awards to preach that animation is for everyone and isn't just kids stuff or simply a genre, like the Academy often thinks. I still remember when Bob Chapek criticized animation. That got him fired from his position as CEO of the Walt Disney Company, bringing back Bob Iger, who pretty much helped get this current mess started. Fortunately, he steps down from Disney next year, and so I hope we get a much better CEO who can bring us out of this second dark age, the way Frank Wells did before he died, and Jeffrey Katzenberg and Michael Eisner did before they went south, bringing Disney out of their first dark age in the 70s to mid-80s. So there is hope for the Walt Disney Company, and I also hope you stay tuned to this channel to see whatever me, Zach Wolf, Sam Valentino, or the others come up with.